3.
Yeah.
So, Meshe, thanks again. I already told you thank you for joining, but for everyone else who is joining on YouTube, thank you all for coming. This is our Authentic Black Mama series, and this is our 3rd Authentic Black Mama. So we've been having these Sundays and Tuesdays since the beginning of like mid-July, and they'll run until August. So we have 8 stories that we want to hear from these authentic Black mamas. So we are going to get started really quick. What this series is, and I try to do this at the beginning, is I wanted to create a space to celebrate Black mamas and the joys, the pain, the love, and overall, just what it means to be authentic on a journey, in being a mom, and not only motherhood, but womanhood. Because I think sometimes, it gets lost and we think moms are, just up here, but we're like, they're women. They were either women first or they've been growing into women. So like, how that connected. And so I am ready to take my notes and get started to hear Meshe's story. I remember you starting to post on Instagram, about the loss that you had. And I was like, Dad, you gotta be a strong person to talk about that, right? Like just off the strength of that, I was like, I have to bring her on to talk to her. But I really wanted to start really quickly first with, I saw this quote. So I've never on Facebook. So this is funny that I remembered this on Facebook. I was on it on Facebook, but your loving husband wrote this for you on Facebook on Mother's Day. And you see all the Mother's Day posts and you love them. And I saw Tux and I was like, oh, I want to talk to her and I want to hear what's been going on. So I'm just going to read it for everyone on, and Meshe's probably heard this before, but it says, mother, a woman in relation to her child or children. Let me tell you about this mother right here. This one is different. This one is selfless. This one has sacrificed a lot. This one has lost a lot. This one has gained a lot. This one loves a lot. This one deserves a lot. If you heard her story, you would see firsthand just how strong she really is. You won't hear her story unless you ask, because she is not one to boast or brag. This is a true woman of God that trusts fully in the Lord and is guided by his steps. She's a living testimony and her joy shines bright. Happy Mother's Day to the love of my life, Mrs. Meshe Tucker. And I was like, oh!
I cried too, don't you worry. I cried and I'm still tearing up now.
Oh, girl. I was like, oh man, that was just like, I was like, I got to talk to Meshe. We got to figure this. We got to talk about this and see, because when you hear, you hear someone who you love, a partner who's been on this journey with you, and for them to talk that highly of you and what your story is, it's just not even amazing to witness, but to just read that, I'm like, ooh. So I wanted to open it up with that and just, first just tell us, like, about your story of motherhood, what it looked like, what that initial journey was. And I'm just gonna let you get the floor.
Ooh, well, let's see. My journey is about 5 years long. So it's much of a roller coaster. I got married in 2014.
Yeah.
And what's next, right? Everybody thinks babies, right? You want babies. And I've always been the one that wanted kids, and that was like my goal. Well, just a little backstory. When I was 19 years old, I was diagnosed with what we call PCOS, which is polycystic ovarian syndrome.
Yeah.
It's a disorder that, messes with the hormones and the causes in infertility and things like that. So when I was 19, I went to the doctor because I was having really irregular periods. Just trying to figure out what was going on with that. I remember talking to a doctor and he told me I had PCOS, and he told me straight to my face, he said, well, it will be very hard for you to have kids. If at
19.
Yeah. If at all. And, at 19, that's not something you want to hear. Like, I have a whole life ahead of me. Like, what do you mean I'm not going to have children? Now, it was tough to hear, but at the same time, I'm 19. I'm not trying to have kids right now.
Right.
Like, I'm in college. I'm at USC. I'm ready to go to the football games and stuff like that. So, it really didn't weigh heavy on me at all until I got married, and it dawned on me. And I was like, uh-oh, what am I doing now? So it was about almost a year into our marriage, and April was the month I found out I was pregnant.
Okay.
Went to the doctor. We were super happy. Did blood work, and it came back positive. But when we went into the ultrasound, no heartbeat.
Oh.
So, we had already told our family at that point, like our mothers and, people like that, gave them that cute little Mother's Day card, like, you're going to be a grandma.
You're gonna be a grandma, yeah.
Super excited about it. They were super excited about it. And then when that happened, I mean, our world was just crushed.
Yeah.
Things like, where do you go from there? And in that doctor's office, when they told me the baby didn't have a heartbeat, they also told me, well, you just go home and it'll pass in a few days. Just make sure you're comfortable. What does that mean? Like, I have no idea what that means at that time, So I went home. Of course, I'm distraught, crying, whatever, having to tell my family, like, yeah, I'm having a miscarriage. I haven't had it yet, but I'm having one. Like,
I'm having one, and I'm home. I'm home now, and
yeah. And so I remember it was probably a couple of days later, I started bleeding really heavily, really bad pain. Shell, it was the most excruciating pain I've ever dealt with in my life. I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy.
Yeah.
It was bad. It was emotionally draining.
Yeah.
Physically, I was just in pain. And Tuck getting on the floor with me as I like kneeled down, like crunched over, because I couldn't bear the pain at that point. So that took us a while to get through and get over. And honestly, you never really get over it. It's just one of those things you learn to deal with.
Yeah.
And then, so that was 2015. It was until 2018 that we got pregnant again. Because, hard for me to get pregnant. Hormones got to be in the right, you got to be out right. So 2018, it was April again, actually. So
oh my gosh.
2018, found out we was pregnant. Now this one, I went in for the blood work. Blood work said good, but you have to go through a series of blood work to make sure your HCG levels are going up.
Okay.
So at that time, mine were not. They were going the opposite direction, which meant the baby wasn't going to stay, like it wasn't going to stick. So here I am again. Now this one, granted, was super, super early, right? It was one of those that I didn't even have time to process, and I didn't have time to get excited about it, but it still happened.
Yeah, it still happened, and it
doesn't matter. Right. It doesn't matter the time frame of it. Like, it still hits you kind of hard. So no one knew about that. And I don't even think, I didn't tell anybody. I told my mom after the fact, and I was like, yeah, so found out I was pregnant, but like a week later I found out I'm not. Like, it's one of those things.
Yeah.
So that year must have been my year, because around September or October, got pregnant again. So once again, back to the doctor, blood work's good. And finally we went into the ultrasound. And, at this moment, I'm holding my breath. I'm just, I just stopped breathing, until.
Yeah. This is essentially like the third time, right? This would be the third.
Right, right. Yep, that's the third time.
What you telling me, doctor, today?
Yep. So we're in the ultrasound tech room and we see the heartbeat. We hear the heartbeat. Like, it is so exciting.
Yeah.
It's happening, right? And so we waited a couple weeks and told the family again and told a few select friends. And then the next ultrasound, no heartbeat.
Oh.
So here I am sobbing in the doctor's office. And I'm pretty sure the person next to me heard everything that was going on. Because, like, I'm crushed at this point. Like, what can I do, at this point? Like, I can get pregnant. That doctor told me I might not be able to. So I can get pregnant, but I can't stay pregnant.
Right.
With that miscarriage, they told me again, you can go home and just wait it out, or you can do what they call a DNC, which is a surgery basically to go in and clean you out, for lack of better words.
Yeah.
But they put you to sleep and all that. And I've never had a surgery, never been put to sleep. So this is the first time that I'm doing this. And, it was scary, but it was the day before Thanksgiving, actually.
Okay.
Thanksgiving. So this was November 2018. And, you know, I just, at this point, I'm like, what do I do? God, you need to help me. I don't know. Like, I'm starting to lose hope. I'm starting to, I'm starting to really be down on myself because, for one, my husband wants to be a father.
Right. Yeah.
It's just me. Like, it's my body that is stopping it. So, like, I felt bad about that. I wanted to be a mom. So, like, you telling me, like, what is my route at this point? So, God makes you give him the glory out of everything. And it's super hard whenever you're in the midst of it to like be happy about it, right? So you find yourself really, really, really mad about this next girl who's pregnant. Like you find it really, really hard for like a friend of yours who says, I didn't know, I can't believe I'm pregnant. Like, you did it, you knew what you did. Like, you wanted to be, you did that. So don't come to me with that, because now you about to make me. And so, you have to, I learned that I had to be happy for other people, or it was never going to come, because I couldn't be grateful for what I was getting. And so with that being said, I decided to go ahead and do the DNC in November.
Okay.
And I was like, Lord, you got this. I don't know, like it's whatever you want to do. And so few months later, I said, you know what? It's time for me to figure something out. I got to do something. Like I'm gonna pray, but I still got to work at it too.
Yeah.
So I went to my OB and I was like, hey, I need you to let me know if I can go to the specialist, because I need to go to like a fertility specialist at this point, because I'm getting pregnant, just not staying that way. So one, you have to advocate for yourself, because some doctors really do care. And I think I have a great OB. I have a good relationship with her, but at some point they're stopped. You know what I mean? Like they're not as invested as you. So you have to advocate for yourself. Yes. So I went to a fertility specialist, Black doctor. She was super nice.
Okay.
She did a full panel blood work on me, and everything came back good. She was like, let's do this. Let's give you this list of supplements to take, because obviously you can get pregnant. Let's just improve the egg quality. Let's improve your blood flow. So she gave me this list, and I call it the magic list. The magic list to take. And I started taking it. I mean, obviously nothing else is different. I mean, it's just me adding some supplements to my diet.
Yeah.
And so anyway, in the midst of all of that, Siobhan, She Is Me blogs, this project about I'm not an April Fool's joke. So, I was one of the stories that she talked about in her project. And at the time it was anonymous, because, like, infertility is taboo. Like, people think it's not, people think like, I cannot talk about that. People are going to think I'm crazy. And honestly, 1 in 8 women. So you got 8 friends, one of them is probably dealing with infertility. Woo! And that is one of the things for me that was just like, oh, okay. So it's very common. I just had it out of my head that it wasn't. And so she did that. And lo and behold, April 1st of 2019, I had the urge to take a pregnancy test. I don't know why.
Get out of here.
I don't know why. I wasn't sick, anything. And, with my situation, I have pregnancy tests laying around my house. Like I had to go to the store. I just got one out of the cabinet. Yeah. So I took the test and it was positive on April Fool's Day.
On April Fool's Day.
I walked out the tuck and I was like, this is not a joke.
Right.
Let me just go and tell you that this is not a joke. So he was the first person, and then I text Siobhan.
Yeah.
But
anyway, it's not April Fool either, right? That's
right. No. So we went through all that, and of course the same situations as before, like doing the blood work, going to see the ultrasounds, holding your breath every time that you go and do an ultrasound. That first one was super early in the morning, and the fertility specialist actually did that one for us. And we looked at the screen, and there was 2 things on there. And we just started laughing. Like, it was too early in the morning for my eyes to be playing tricks on me. And, we just started laughing. She said, yep, that's what it is. Yep, you're right. Got it. I don't even have to tell you. So there were twins.
Oh
And
my.
yeah, I'm super excited about it. I mean, we were just like, okay, blessings came in too, right?
Yep.
Um, I decided I didn't want to tell our family or anybody really until I got out of the first trimester, just because of my history.
Yeah.
And so Tuck respected it, and that's what we did. So around our anniversary, we decided we were going to go ahead and announce for it.
Yeah.
But we only told people about one baby. Like, we didn't tell them it was twins.
Yeah.
So we had the gender reveal. Everybody's thinking the blue or the pink's gonna pop out of the box, and out pops a 2. Everybody goes crazy, and then we finally shoot the cannons off and found out it's 2 boys. So, once again, super excited about it because my family's full of girls.
I was gonna say, yeah.
Yeah, I have 3 sisters. One of my sisters has a daughter, and another one of my sisters is pregnant now, having a daughter. So this was my daddy's only hope. So Tuck thinks he's the big man around because he was able to get my daddy's grandboys, right? So anyway, fast forward, and everything goes great. The pregnancy's fine. Like, yeah, I'm sick, but like, this is something that I've been wanting, and it's not something I'm just like, I'm gonna take it and run with it. Let's go.
Right.
About 33 weeks, 34 weeks, it was like in the middle.
Okay.
Went into the maternal and fetal medicine. So I had to get more ultrasounds than anybody else, just because it's considered a high-risk pregnancy when you have. And so, the ultrasound tech she's doing her thing, and she talks about Caden because he's baby A, and talk about how great he's doing and things like that. And then she gets to Carson, baby B, and she just gets quiet. Now, bless her heart, I think she tried not to get upset or whatever. But something's wrong when somebody was talking to you for 1 minute and the next minute they're super silent, then they rush out of the room. Like,
yeah. It doesn't take a rocket scientist to know something's wrong.
Yeah.
Right?
Right. So the doctor comes in, she's like, I'm so sorry. It looks like Carson's heartbeat stopped. Sorry. So I'm like, no, like I'm distraught at this point. I said, wait, I felt him this morning. And she was like, you probably felt Caden, just because they're so close together and all that stuff. But, at this point, super, super sad about it. I don't know. I didn't know what to say at that point. I just wanted to walk out the doctor's office and go home.
Yeah.
So they did tell me that, it wasn't going to harm Caden or anything like that. But we just probably should wait just a few more weeks to make sure Caden is fully developed. So we went home, and, we had to process some things, right? And
you guys have been continuing to do, right? It's like you continue to process. Was therapy ever in that for you all, or was it just too much at the time? It was just like you guys processing it together.
Yeah, it was literally just us. I had a few friends who I could talk to.
Of course.
There were ladies at the church and my pastor who I really talked to a lot, just because I needed to talk to somebody. I mean, you have friends, but they don't really understand it unless they have gone through it.
Oh, yeah.
And you don't really expect them to, because they haven't gone through it. Right. So I had to talk to some ladies, and that's what I suggest to anybody. Like, talk to somebody who's been through it, because they can actually help you through it. So no therapy there, but like each other. It was super.
That was therapy for you, right?
Yeah. Being able to lean on each other, because if he wasn't there with me, and I remember Tuck running late to the doctor's appointment that day. Like, he was coming from school and meeting me to go to the doctor's appointment because he didn't miss any of them.
Yeah, of course not.
So I remember him being late, and if he had not made it, like, I don't know what I would have done in that room by myself.
Yeah.
But so we decided to go home and, just process it all. And we decided ultimately that we were going to make the situation as best as we could to make sure Caden got here healthy, right? I mean, what could we do at this point? We told our family and couple friends, but we didn't tell everybody. Yeah. I mean, people were still at that point where they were just like, when are the boys coming? Like, and
I was, like I remember you guys posted, and I was, because I didn't know, like, to know you were going through all of that during that time, and good for you all for deciding that you didn't want to, and you didn't have to tell people. If you wanted to tell the certain people you wanted to and move forward, and when you guys were ready for that, I think that is so important.
And I really didn't want anybody to feel sorry for me. I mean, I knew it happened. God has a plan. Like, what can I do about it if I'm sitting here, just wanting people to be like basically throwing a pity party?
Yeah.
So I just, any day now it'll be fine. I mean, the same thing when you're going through pregnancy and people are like, when are you having kids? What are you waiting on? And you don't you don't know how to answer that. And I'm just like, I don't know that at first. And then it got to the point where I was like, when God's ready, like,
when God's ready,
I don't know what else to tell you. So, but anyway, so, I mean, at the end of the day, we got our children, because we still love Carson. We never got to actually, hold him and bring him home, but he's still ours, and so we found a lot of joy in that, knowing that like Caden is full of joy. He has enough energy for 2 and probably 5 more babies.
Right.
So I feel like, God set us up, and we've been great. All the troubles, all the roller coasters, it was in his plan. So
it was in his plan, and now you are here. And how old is Caden?
Caden will be 8 months on Tuesday.
My gosh. I feel like you just had Caden.
Me too. Oh, the part that I did want to tell you though is, Caden, they were born November 21st of 2019. It was exactly a year from when I had the DNC.
Wow.
Same date. So I had the DNC. I didn't even realize what day I had the DNC. I found my bracelet. I guess Tuck saved it for whatever reason. I found my hospital bracelet one day.
Sometimes you got to save those things for the memories, and they'll come back and you'll remember.
Yeah. And I saw November 21st, and I'm thinking, oh, this is just when, Caden was born, and, all this stuff. And I was like, oh no, that says 2018. So, it all came full circle.
It all came full circle. Well, Meshe, I mean, you are such an amazing, strong person, woman. A lot of people wouldn't have been able to handle that, right? I mean, you look at, look at people's stories, or you even look at your story and you're like, there's no way I can handle that. And I've never been in your shoes before, so I don't know. So I can't sit in here and say, I know for sure I would say I can't handle that, because that's a lot of loss in a small amount of time. Yeah. But to be able to hear your story and hear how you talk about it, and to hear, the joy that you have now, that you and your husband have with Caden, and looking for the future, that is just amazing.
Yeah. I mean, you don't know what you can deal with until you're in it. Like, I don't think if someone was to tell me, like, Meshe, you're going to do all this, you'll be all right. And I'm probably like, what are you talking about? Like, no, there's no way I'll be okay after all that stuff. But I mean, really, you don't know until you're in it. And so that was when I really realized how deeply rooted I was in faith from growing up, and also knowing God for myself, that I was able to call on him, because if not, I would have been probably in somebody's psych ward. Yeah, all that.
No, seriously, Faith, when you talk about it, you said, when people would ask that, because people still do that, right? And when you get married, they're like, oh, when are you having a kid? When are you doing this? When are you buying a house? When are you guys getting that family car? When are you, like, it's just like people have all these stipulations for when people get married, and you said it, when God's ready. So I think it comes full circle, right?
Yeah.
Caden came when God was ready, and when you guys were in this space.
I think I also had to realize too, though, that everybody else's timeline didn't define me.
Yes.
Because we get so caught up in everybody, right. Like you said, okay, yes, the moment I jumped the broom, now you asking me for children. Like, you calm down. Like, calm down.
I love that everybody else's timeline doesn't define me because, you know, in this space, I'm a single woman. And so now, and I'm about to turn 33 this year. So it's like, where's your husband? Where's these kids? And I'm like, you know, when it's supposed to happen, it'll happen. But I will say, you know, the pressures you get from society, the pressures you get from your family. And it can take a toll on you, but to your point, everybody else's timeline doesn't define me. And I say that too. I didn't say it like this. That's why I wrote this down. I say I do what I want, but I like yours better. I like yours better. I'm going to say that next time somebody says that. Everybody else's timeline doesn't define me, and I won't say I do what I want. Okay. Thank you, Meshe. Thank you for that. So you talked about, I mean, I feel like we could keep going. You talked about your greatest joy, and that's now, you know, being able to, you know, carry Caden. You know, Carson is still a part of you guys' story, your journey, and that will always be. But I think I want to talk more, you know, we talked a lot about loss and, you know, what that looked like in your journey, but, you know, what does Meshe do to like, for fun, or like, what do you do when you have time, right? Because you just talked about how Caden ran you ragged today.
Well, like, you know, I mean, honestly,
what brings you that joy when, you know, when you sometimes you sit back and you're like, you know what, I've been through a lot, you know, like what brings you back to that space of joy and happiness?
I mean, just that, because, you know, once you really, everything that comes back around to you, and you're like, I got through that, I went through that, like I made it through that, like that brings me joy in itself, because I wouldn't have never seen myself going through all that stuff. So, you know, I think you asked, what do I do on my time? You know, with my time.
Take care of yourself for fun.
Self-care, that's super hard. You know, he's become my whole world. So it's just one of those things where the mommy guilt's real. Like it's super real, where I feel like, you know, I've been working all day. Now it's time for me to play with him, make sure he's good till he goes to sleep. And then when he goes to sleep, I'm super tired. So I don't really have anything until Tuck forces me. Like, having a mate who forces you is really great, because he forces me to take a nap or go get or something like that. He's like, have your me time, it's fine. And I'm super thankful for it, because otherwise I would run myself ragged.
You would run yourself ragged. Mommy guilt is real, right? We don't talk about it enough, and especially, you know, Black mamas, like, you know, they do everything in the house, right? And then you're a wife on top of that, so you also want to make sure your husband is good. Your husband is in school finishing up a doctorate. You know, I feel like you now, and then you have a newborn. You want to make sure everything is good in your house, and so it's hard to sometimes put yourself up there. But I've heard that just from a lot of like moms, that like mommy guilt is really real, and especially, you know, like in a space that you're in where this is delicate. You've been wanting this for so long, and now you got it. You're like, I'm here, and I'm gonna do everything I can. So I hope eventually, you know, you add in some self-care, and it's COVID too, right? So
yeah, I mean, COVID makes it super hard, because you don't want to go anywhere anyway, because what if I go out, bring some back to him? Now here I go, mommy guilt again. So let me just stay in the house.
Stay in the house. And then you did say that you work from home. So that is, that's also a blessing too, that you are able to work from home and then see,
absolutely,
these milestones. 8 months. What is Caden doing at 8 months? Like what do kids do at 8 months?
Everything. Caden is crawling like a maniac. He
8 months?
Yeah.
I have no sense of when things are supposed to happen, girl. So you teach me.
Well, you know, every kid's different, but this boy, like, he was sitting up one morning, like just sitting up by himself, and the next morning he's crawling. I'm just like, did you go to sleep and decide, okay, now it's time to move on to the next thing? He's now, you know, pulling up on things, kind of sidestepping, walking by himself, but not like, obviously not walking, but like just making those little steps around the couch. So that's kind of terrifying, because I watched him pull up on the TV stand when I was in the kitchen, and I was having to run over to get him because I thought he was gonna bust his face open. So, you know, he gets into all kinds of stuff, and now he has a little puppy my daddy gave him, and he's chasing after the puppy, hitting him. So, you know, he's all boy.
I would say a boy. So you got your hands completely tied up.
Yeah.
And so really quick, because your story, I wanted you to keep talking. I didn't want to stop you from that. But, you know, I mean, listening to your story, everybody can tell you are an authentic Black mama, right? Like, there's no question. Like, you know, I'm like, check, 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 check. But, you know, in a space that you are, you know, being a Black mother, you know, especially raising a black son, you know, and just in the space that we're in with all this racial, you know, tension, and being authentic and what that looks like for you, you know, what scares you the most about being, you know, authentic, a Black mom, just in general, with a Black son and a Black husband?
Yeah. What really scares me is, you know, you walk in the stores or you walk near people or people see your kid on Facebook, right? And the first thing they say, he's so cute. Like he's the cutest thing I've ever seen. Like, when does he turn from cute to a threat?
Yeah.
So, you know, and I worry too, and Tuck gets on to me all the time about worrying about like where he is when he's driving and stuff. It's not that I'm trying to track him down, but I also want to make sure that he's good.
Yeah.
Because people nowadays, they don't know that he's a doctor. They don't know that, you know, he's not going to harm anybody unless you know him.
Right.
And, you know, nowadays people don't care. Like, they do things and then you find stuff out later. Like, that's the scariest part to me, is just not ever knowing, you know. You don't want them out of your sight, but you also don't want to hold them, you know. So when he gets older, like, I don't know like how I'm gonna feel when he's out at night, when I hang out with some girl. Like, I just don't know.
It's gonna come though, right? You're like, I gotta get myself together, right? Because before you know it, it's gonna be Caden's 8 months, and then all of a sudden he's 18, and you're like,
Yep.
where did the time go? Because time is
Yep.
just moving so fast. Because I didn't realize Caden was 8 months.
Yes. Time has been flying. I feel like I just walked out of the hospital with him.
That's crazy. Okay, well, what is next? What is next for Meshe and the Tuckers and Caden? And, you know, what do you see in the future in terms of, you know, because you have a very powerful story, Me. I hope you know that and you feel that. And I hope other mothers who've dealt with loss and just moms who, you know, have struggled, they can hear your story. Because, I mean, I think I wrote like essentially 4 times, right? You lost
Yeah.
a child 4 times, you know, and now you have this great joy in Caden and still Carson. But, you know, what does the future look like? And then what advice do you have for moms in this space about what you've gone through, possibly if they are going through it now, and if they have? Because I do know mothers who have experienced, you know, just miscarriage.
Yeah.
And I think I saw one on Facebook, a mom, someone we went to school with, and she had a miscarriage. And I just can't imagine what that looks like. And you just had it, you know, back to back to back. And so
Yeah.
I think that's a good way that we can end it, you know, just you talking about what the future looks like for the Tuckers, yourself, Caden, and then just advice for moms, new moms, just, I mean, anything.
Yeah. So Tuck has just finished chiropractic school. He just finished his board, so he's just getting ready to get licensed.
Yes.
So thank God, right? Because I felt like I was in school with him. But yeah, so while he was in school, before he went to school, I started my own business with event planning.
Okay.
It's by K. Renee. And, you know, I've done a couple weddings and a little events here and there for people, but I kind of stopped it once he got into school because, you know, I wanted to make sure everything was good with him. He had everything he needed and,
Yep.
you know, got through that. Now that he's out, I've started it back up. So that's kind of one of my hobbies, I guess. It's not really something I want to make a full-time job. It's just something that I like to do. That type of event planning. We do want more children.
Okay.
So we want a total of 4 children. Call me crazy. We want a van full. I don't want a van, but we want a van full. And
the van.
That's that. But for moms in general, I have 2 things. So for people who are moms right now, I think for me, I realized that, you know, being a mom is really hard.
Mm-hmm.
No matter if you want it or whatever, being a mom is super hard. And I found myself having anxiety sometimes, just, you know, checking to see if he's breathing or, did I do that right? Or did I make the right decision and all that stuff? So give yourself grace and, to know that he's still the baby, your kid still loves you. Like they think you're the greatest thing on earth. You're a great mom.
Yeah.
I have to remind myself that sometimes too. And then for the mamas to be, I would say, do not give up. The end of your story. One of my favorite Bible verses is Romans 8:28. Basically saying like, it ain't over till it's good. God, he has a plan, and everything for those who love him is going to be good. So if it ain't good right now, it's going to be good, and you ain't at the end of your story. So just don't give up on that. Talk to somebody who can help you. Talk to someone who's been through it. If you need me, reach out to me. I'm open. I will talk to anybody, anywhere, anytime.
Yeah. Oh, Meshe, you are a true testament to, I literally wrote this, to when God's ready, right?
Yeah.
Oh, I love that. I love your story. Thanks for being in this space and talking about it. I hope you've inspired me. And so remember we were talking about, those, inspiring, somebody who's been through it. And though I haven't been through it, I don't know what that looks like for me. Right. And so
right.
I know if something happens or or I have a friend that needs to talk to somebody, I got your number. And so
yes, exactly.
I think, that's inspiring in itself to, someone who's been through such loss, all in a couple years and been able to get through it and looked at the bright side of things. So I really say you are a testament to when God's ready. And I thank you so much for being a part of this. Really quick for the people who are on. So it's hard to comment. So if you all can go to Instagram and go to the Choose True Project on Instagram and go to Meshe's flyer. I call it the mommy bio. If you could go to that, that would be great. And write what you took away from Meshe's story. What was it that you felt inspired by, or anything? And I think a part of your mommy bio, you said being a faith-driven woman has made me a strong mother. And from your story that you said today, that's for sure exactly, who you are as a woman, as a mother. And I wish the best for you, Tuck, Caden, the next kids y'all having, the club, the Tucker clan. I wish you the best. It's nice to know people who've been through things that you've been through and to like really be proud of that. Not proud that I've been through it, but proud that you're able to tell a story, because there are a lot of folks who just aren't even in a space to tell that story. And I know that took time, but you are definitely going to be an inspiration to a lot of folks. So keep telling your story. You. People better keep hitting you up. If not, when they need, I'm gonna be like, hit her up. She'll talk to anybody about it. But I do appreciate you, and thank you again.
Thank you for having me.
I'm gonna watch these all over again and be like, got through all of that. Like I'm literally writing it down, like 2014, 18, and then 19, April 1st. That's then November. Then it was November, right? Yeah, November 21st, 2019.
Yeah, that's when they were born. Yeah,
they were born.
Yeah.
Well, I wish you all the best. Thanks for being a part of this. Thanks for spending your Sunday, a part of your Sunday night with me. I'm sure Caden is probably asleep by now. So
I'm pretty sure he's probably watching with his dad.